As you can see on my screen that I already have it opened up. Now, I'm going to say, let's say I'm going to do arithmetical values or simple arithmetics. Let's say I want to put it with square number or maybe a cube number, which I'm going to follow by in this class. So maybe I'm going to cube it or cube any specific value. Now, how am I going to cube it? Well, the most easiest method is just to put 2 or whichever value you want to cube it by, and then with the power of cube, which is 3. Okay, so cube is 3, that everyone knows that. So I want that specific value to give me a return statement when I get myself up a specific amount. So here I'm going to start off with a function. So to start off with a function, obviously we have to use def. So I'm going to put in def over here and def, and I want cube values. So inside of my cube values, I'm going to put my parentheses, which is going to be named number, or I can also put in no. So inside of that, we have specified it, and I'm going to put in a colon. So after I put in a colon inside of my function, I'm going to put in the variable or whichever code you prefer. So it could be what you want. So as you can see, it is cube. So I'm going to have to multiply specific values times 3. So it would be no number, and then I have to put in asterisk, no number, and then asterisk again, and then again multiplied with that specific number. So here, what I want to do is now, as I have to print it, I will not put it inside of my function, because if I do it inside of my function, let's say maybe I want 3, if I print it out, it will not give me any answer. So what you basically have to do is start off within, or like, let's say outside of that indentation level. And if I put in cube, and then if I put in 3 and hit on like play, you can still see there is still no value because we did not put in the print command. So first off, what we basically have to do is put in our print, and then inside of that parenthesis, I'm going to put in code. So inside of that, I'm going to put in value 3. So if I put in value 3 inside of it, and now if I play it, you'll basically see there's going to be this type of error. Okay. And there we go. We have process finished with the exit code. So now you can see that here we have print. We also have code over here. Okay. Instead of code, I'm going to put in Q. Now it will just basically fix it up. Q, hit on play. And now you'll basically see there is still none as the default answer. But obviously we don't want that specific value. But here, what I want it to do is give me off the return value. So if I just put in enter, and if I put in return, there we go. We have this return value. And here, if I just use this specific value, if I put in number into number and into number, now if I print it out, you'll basically see we have the return value to be 27. So one thing you can see over here is that when we are working with those values, or when we want certain values like that, we have to use the return value while using any function, because if we do not use this function of return, just like you can see when I remove out the specific part control X, and if I play it, you can see the answer is none, because it has already given us the result, but not the arithmetical value. So I'm going to keep it at the beginning. There we go. And if I play it back again, it's going to be something like this. Now I'm going to also print it out with a specific result. So here, what I'm going to do is going to be using results over here. So I'm going to put in results. There we go. Now the result is going to be equal to, let's say, Q4. Okay, so that is the specific value which I want. And instead of this over here on the whole print, instead of using this code, I'm going to just put in my value. So I'm going to put in results over here. So as we have my result over here, now you can print it out, and it's also going to give you out that specific value. But before that, we have to put in another result over here, which is going to print out that specific value. So hit on enter. If I just go over here, and if I put in print, now here, I'm going to put in the code, parentheses, code, okay? So here, if I just play it up, you'll basically see we have 64 as our answer, and that is basically the whole, the value of 4, or let's say the cube of 4. Now you can also open up, let's say, a calculator and check it out. So if I just go over here, type in calculator, and then I'm going to open it up. Let's just reduce the size. And if I put in 4 into 4 into 4, it's going to be like this, okay? So it's 704, or we can just go back to standard. I'm going to close all of these off. Put in C and 4. You can also put in power into, let's say I'm going to cut this off again. 4 into 4 into 4. 64 is the answer, and that is exactly it right over here. So now you know how you'll be able to get these return values. Now, if you say that you want a square value, obviously you can do that. What you're going to do is just basically remove any one of these and play. And when you see there is 16. Now, not only just 4, you'll be able to work it up with different values. If I put in 10 and if I play it up, it's going to give me 100 as the answer. Now, it could be like various different codes and different commands, but here you can use code over here. If I want, let's say, a slash, I want to divide it by that specific number. I'm going to play it up. And if I see, there we go, we have 1. But one thing over here is that we only have one value over here, and it's obviously going to give us 1. But if we do not use this return over here, it's not going to give us that specific value. Now you might think that, okay, what if I try to put in a comma and put in 2 over here and play it up? You'll basically see there's going to be error, because in this specific command or in this specific code, it's only going to require 1. And you can see number over here is 1, and what you basically have to do is put in another comma and put in another value over here, and then you can put in 2 numbers. So if I play it right now, it will still give me this def cube number, and number is missing. Or let's say this is how it is working. So what you basically have to do is put in a comma like this, and then you have to put in a slash. Now, if I play it, you'll basically see an error might appear up again, because this is still not being termed as the answer. So if I have to play it, I just have to play it like this. And there we go. We have 2 of these nodes which are putting up an error. So one thing you can see over here, when you want to return a specific value, you'll be able to customize your results, but you will not be able to customize what you want to return it or what value you want to return it to, because it only gives you one return statement, not 2. But obviously, as this is a function, you'll be able to make up more criteria values, but that's just definitely up for show. That's it. So what most people would prefer doing over here is that just doing one of these values and return over here. If I put in no number into number, or if I put in number plus number, and if I hit on play, you'll basically see it will give me the answer 10 plus 10 is 20. Okay, so try using it on addition, then minus, and also not minus, but addition, then power, and also multiplication. That's it. But rest of the ones, I would suggest you not doing the rest of the ones, such as division and subtraction, because it's going to become very complex when you want a return statement. Okay, so this is the function of Python of return statement, and hope you understood about everything in this class. If you still have any confusion or any question about any part of this lesson, feel free to ask me anytime. I'm always there to help you out. So without any further ado, let's move on to our next class of Python.